Hello and welcome to the Wayward Skein, episode 30. I'm Lynn, also known as Toll Baby, pretty much everywhere on the internet. We have a Ravelry group. I have an Instagram feed. I say we, the royal we, just me. Have an Instagram feed, have an Etsy shop. I'm on Facebook. I'm not really on Twitter, but, anywhere else you want to find me on the internet, you can find me as Toll Baby. So episode 30 is a little wild. I'm not quite sure how that happened. I figured I would do 2 or 3 episodes of this and then I'd stop, but I'm enjoying it. A couple of you seem to be enjoying it. My mom watches. Hi, Mom. She probably won't watch this one because she's going on a trip to, leaving at very, very early o'clock in the morning to go on a trip for a couple of weeks, so she probably won't see this episode or the next one, but that's okay. So today is Sunday, January 20th, and it's been intensely cold the last couple of days, like crazy cold. And I'm not sure why this window is appearing this bright and flashy and blowy outy, because it's really overcast. And inside my apartment, it's very dark and gray, so I'm not sure what the heck's going on with that, but what can we do? I made some knitting goals last week at the end of the podcast. I said that I wanted to start row 8 of my scrappy blanket. I said I wanted to finish Rob's first sock, and I said that I wanted to get through the chart on my mitten. I met 2 of 3 of those goals, and I'm so close to meeting the 3rd that it will be met before dark today. But I have some errands to do. Sorry, my chair is squeaky. I have some errands to do, and I didn't want the person I'm doing the errands with to have to wait, so I stopped before I got to the end. I'm like, so close. But there we are. So I will jump right into knitting content. There is no tea today because I was lazy. I have not made tea. So, goal number 1, sorry, and this is backwards, of course. So I did start row 8, that's all I did. Cast on 1 square. That's it, 1 square. This is an unknown yarn, and I'm sure Crystal is probably shouting the answer at me, but Crystal actually gave me 4 very substantial minis, since people were making fun of me for saying big minis. 4 very substantial minis to send to our friend Kate in Ireland, and Kate has never received them, so I can talk about it. I sent Kate a birthday package. I was anticipating she would get it at some point late this week. She actually got it on Thursday. I posted it the previous Friday, so that was record fast. Sorry, my hair is a little bit all over the place here. So this is an unknown yarn from Crystal, because they were very, very substantial minis. And she's like, hey, take a little bit for yourself before you send it off to her. And I'm like, okay. So I did. And that's what that is. It's a single. It's a very, very soft white and purple sock yarn. So I really like it. I hope Kate really likes it for her granny stripe blanket. And so I have a little piece of Crystal and sort of Kate at the same time in the blanket, because the rest of this went to Kate. My scrappy blanket is, if I take it, everything's going to fall off the chair. So it's 35 squares of this across and 7 rows high at this point. This is row 8 that I'm starting. It is based on the knitted patchwork recipe by Martine Ellis. And I knit my squares on 2.75 millimeter needles, which is the US 2. So it doesn't live in anything right now. It's too big. It now lives on my chair. I have a chair that's uncomfortable to sit in, but really good to stack stuff on. It's not, I don't think that would be called wicker. It's wood, like it's a wood frame. I don't know if it counts as wicker, but it's, the frame comes down a little too narrow where you sit down, and it tends to grab you in the back of the legs, so most people don't like to sit on it, but it's a pretty chair, so I keep it, and I won't be keeping it when I move out of here, but for the time being, it's where my knitting lives. I don't have a basket, I don't have a bin, I have a chair. So I wish I could tell you what that yarn is, but I don't know. So if Crystal lets me know sometime in the next little while, I will let you know. Otherwise, it's mystery. Knitting goal number 2 was Rob's sock. Ta-da! It's even Jen finished. All the ends are woven in. I finished it last night at my friends Sylvie and Sarah's house. I went to their place for dinner after work, and I finished my sock, so I'm very happy with that. And Rob is very happy too because, well, he's going to get a sock out of it. So this is my standard 3x2 sock. He likes it because it grips his leg nicely without being too tight, and it's stiff enough fabric that it won't fall down his leg. So, because he's got one ankle that's held together by pins, so it tends to be substantially larger than the other ankles, so he needed 2 different... I wasn't going to try and figure out 2 different sizes of socks and make the poor man try and figure out which one went on which foot at any given time. So I devised a way for him to have socks that fit both legs, and he likes them, and I'm never allowed to deviate from the way I make his socks. So I based myself on the knitted sock recipe, A Good Plain Sock by Stephanie Pro McPhee. It's published in her knitting rules book. I'm loosely based on it. It's how I learned how to make socks without a pattern. So that's my standard 3x2 rib. Rob likes him a little heel flap and gusset, so that's what I do. And I do her 4-3-2-1 toe, which I'm told is similar to the toe on the Rose City Rollers pattern. Never having knit a pair of Rose City Rollers, I can't really confirm that, but that's what I'm told. So this is knit out of Gnome Spun Puka Base in the Brave colorway, and I use 2.5mm needles, which is US 1.5. So that's patterned. That was knitting goal number 2. Now I have to cast on the second sock. I weighed my yarn because I was starting to get a little antsy when I got to the end of the foot, and I do have more than enough to make it a second sock, so I'm happy about that. I was a little concerned because it's a much tighter spun yarn than I'm accustomed to, so I was thinking that it might not have the yardage that a regular sock weight does, but it does. I was worrying for nothing. This was my 3rd knitting goal, and I am not quite there yet because there's still a few rows of this ribbing on the front. The cables are all done. I'm finished with the cables, but the chart still includes about 6 rows of ribbing. So technically I didn't meet my goal, but I thought that the chart was 30 rows and I've done 32. So if I wanted to like bend the truth or use semantics, I finished my goal, but I didn't. So this is the Naughty Mittens. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the other mitten. There it is. I have too much crap on my desk. So these are the Naughty Mittens by Tessa Rexroad. This is the right one. This is going to be the left one. It is very heavily based on the Naughty Gloves pattern by Juliet Mueller. So I just finished the cables on the left mitt. And as you can see, the ribbon continues a little bit past the cabling on the other mitt. I've just started the increases for the thumb gusset. This is knit out of Baron Sheep's Clothing Bare Masham, which is a lovely loosely spun 2-ply made of, I believe it's merino and masham, that was sent to me by Kate. Well, she gave it to me at Rhinebeck last year. Kate of Hawthorne Cottage Craft. So these are going to be by Kate Mitts, and I love them. They're so squishy and soft. I wasn't sure. The yarn seemed a bit rustic when I was winding it into a ball. It is rustic, but it's also very, very nice to knit with. As you can see, it's got pretty good stitch definition, which I was afraid of given that it's a variegated, but it's beautiful. I love it. So I worried for nothing. It turned out fantastic, and I'm loving these knits so far. I'm really looking forward to being able to wear them because it has been stupid cold outside. Those are also done on a 1.5mm needle, which is US 1.5. And I'm not going to dig out the bag because it's under something else that will make noise if I move it. So no, not one of the cats, thank God. The cats don't come on my desk. But yeah, so this has been living in the little bag that Kate made me for Rhinebeck last year. So it really is a Kate-centered project, which is nice because I've been thinking a lot about Kate lately and I really miss her. So that's my knitting progress. This is probably going to be a very short podcast because I really don't have much to tell you guys about. My boss has been replacing her boss for the last week and will continue to do so for the next 3 weeks while he is away. So her job has gotten a lot hairier in the last week, which means my job has gotten a lot hairier in the last week. It's been pretty stressful, and I injured myself on Monday. I ended up having to, well, this has been happening frequently in the last few weeks. I had to stand on the bus on the way to work for 45 minutes or so, and it left me with an injury. I don't know how to explain this. It started out as basic meniscus irritation behind the kneecap, but it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So part of the problem is that I require orthotics, and I don't currently have a decent pair of orthotics. I need to get on that because I do actually have a prescription for a pair of orthotics, but the orthotics place at in my complex at work closed like the day after I got the prescription. So I was a little bummed. So I do need orthotics, and I was wearing my brand new pair of winter boots that I told you guys about last week, which do not have orthotics in them. So I get the feeling that that kind of exacerbated things. But Tuesday night I was working at the store, it got really bad. Wednesday night I was working at the store, it got worse. By the time I went to physio on Thursday, I was hobbling around everywhere. It was kind of ridiculous. So I have not had the greatest week. By the time I went to work yesterday, it wasn't as bad. And today I have minor amounts of pain, but it's nowhere near as bad as it was on Thursday. So it is healing very slowly. It's usually meniscus irritation lasts for a couple of days. This has lasted almost an entire week, and it was a lot to deal with. So, it's been a hairy week. I haven't had a lot of knitting time. I've had absolutely no reading time. There was one night where I ended up waiting an hour outside for a bus. A bus that's supposed to run every 20 minutes, mind you. And I waited over an hour for a bus in minus 25 weather. It was not pleasant. I was not a happy camper. I'm looking forward to a little bit of warming up in the temperatures this week. I'm really hoping for that anyway. We'll see how that goes. And once again, I've, still have the stupid cough, so I apologize. I'm going to have a little bit of water here if I can. Nope, I'm just going to have to drink out of the bottle. Sorry. I haven't really conversed with anybody in the last 24 hours, so. Of course, as soon as you start talking, you start coughing again. Anyway, so all that to say that I've had no reading time whatsoever. I had very little knitting time, and yet still managed to knock out the end of the sock and a blanket square. I'll confess, the second I finished recording last week, I cast on the blanket square. I was actually still waiting for the video to upload, and I was knitting the blanket square. So we'll see how it goes. I want to set some goals for this week as well. My goal is to finish the hand. I'm not necessarily going to make the thumb part of the deal, but I definitely want to finish the hand of the mitten before I record again next weekend. I would like to get, I want to say I want to get the leg done on Rob's second sock. So I haven't even cast it on yet, but the leg is 75 rows of ribbing. So I'm going to try. I will be happy if I make it more than halfway, but ideally I would like to make it down to where the heel flap starts, which is right about here. So 75 rows of leg is what I generally do for Rob socks because he likes tall socks. Of course he does. Thank God his feet aren't that big. He only wears a size 10, so that's acceptable. If he wore a size 12 or a 13, I'd have been like, no way, you're getting ankle socks for the rest of your life, or you get nothing. I tease him because I'm like, big feet, long legs, rah. So I'm hoping to get the leg done. So I'm here on the mitten. Once I get past the ribbing, which ends like right here, it's just straight knitting all the way up. I can do that. That's easy. I can do that. So I'm hoping to get to the end of the hand and get the leg done. That's a fair amount of knitting for 1 week. Those are going to be my only 2 goals. And if I reach those goals, then the color affection comes back into circulation next week. So, I also have to get myself sorted out to start my garment for the Garments Galore Cal that Little Big Knits and Hawthorne Cottage Craft podcasts are hosting. I'm very excited about that. It's going to be my Rhinebeck sweater, which is why I want to start it sooner than later, because I know me. I'm not a fast knitter. And I really want this cardigan. The second I saw the pattern for it, I actually hopped on KnitPicks, ordered the yarn. I'm using Wool of the Andes Sport for the Hard on Your Sleeve cardigan by Fiona Ellis. And I ordered KnitPicks Wool of the Andes Sport, and I believe the colorway is called Claret. It's a dark red. Golly gee, I wonder why I picked dark red. I mean, I do really like this color, and it doesn't look too bad on me, so that was what I chose for my cardigan. So I want to get going on that. I really want to knit it. I have not been the most prolific knitter of late. I will confess that I did the vast majority of this foot in class the other night. And I think I was a little bit of a distraction to the rabbi because I just kept knitting while we were discussing stuff and, you know, not looking at my knitting or anything. And she just kept looking at my knitting. So I think I was a distraction, and I don't think I'll do that again. But I did most of the foot in temple. Well, not in temple, but it's an exploring Judaism class that I've been doing in preparation for the Beit Din, which is a council that will decide whether or not I am allowed to become a bat mitzvah. So, this is all part of the conversion process, and I will never get preachy or, like, start spouting out religious stuff on the podcast, but most of you do know that I am converting to Judaism. Rob is Jewish. We do intend to be married in his temple, so it's one of the things that's going on in my life right now. And that was the night I had to wait super long outside for the bus. So I got home and I was like, I'm not going to class. My feet are frostbitten. I went to class. And did a foot. So it was all good. So that's what I'm hoping to get done for next week. If I can get another square done, hooray. I'm not going to set it as a goal for right now because my priorities are finishing these 2 projects so that I can move on to something else. Once I've managed to move on, I think I'm going to pay a little more attention to the blanket, but for right now, these are my 2 priorities for this week. I've discovered that if I set myself small, reasonable goals, I'm far more likely to work towards them than if I make myself one big goal with incremental, you know. Do you understand what I mean? If I make a really huge goal, like, I want to exercise every day this week, or I want to, if I make it too much of a chunk, I won't touch it. I literally will sabotage myself. I will blow myself out of the water. Case in point, I went to the gym one day last week. I was all fired up to go again. I was going to go on Monday this week, and oops, injured myself. I won't say that I injured myself on purpose. I absolutely did not, because I hate being in pain and this really sucks. But I do have a tendency to, when I get all fired up about something and make myself a goal, something always happens. Either I cause it, or circumstances conspire, or whatever, and I sabotage myself. So, small goals. Right now, I am planning on going to the gym tomorrow at work. I got permission from my physiotherapist to do some minor leg work, but mainly just to concentrate on my upper body for the time being until he looks at my knee again. He says what he recommends is very, very slow work on the bike as opposed to, you know, heart rate, endurance, cardio type stuff. Basically just get the joint moving to a point where it's fluid and not in pain every time. So I'm going to be going to the gym tomorrow, going to do a little bit on the bike, and the rest is going to be weights. So that's a little encouraging. But my knitting goals are going to be sock and mitten. They're small projects. They should be easy to finish. And yeah, so far they have been proving not to be, but that's because my only knitting time is on the bus. And I've not had a lot of time on the bus lately because I've been standing all the time. So hopefully that will calm down a little bit. I've taken steps to hopefully help me be seated on the bus a little more often. I'm going to walk a little bit farther out to the beginning of the route and see if I can get on a little bit earlier, so that I've got a seat when the majority of folks are piling on at my stop. So my current stop, I mean. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. And I'm really hoping it's supposed to get warmer on Tuesday, because minus 25 on Thursday and Friday and minus 20 yesterday and today. It's getting old. I don't like it when it's this cold outside. Rob has been saying along the lines of, you want me to move where the air can kill me? Why? Because it's home? I don't know. Honestly, my as winter wears on, my justifications are sounding weaker and weaker, but we'll see. Spring is not too far away, I hope. I say this in January. Yeah, January has been rough, but honestly, it hasn't been that bad. We haven't had like the major ice stormy stuff we normally get, and of course, now that I've said that, we will. But they were saying that it was going to be snowmageddon this winter. Hasn't been so far. It's been pretty good. So I don't have too many complaints, but I am definitely going to be getting a second pair of orthotics for the winter boots, because it's cold out and the sneakers just ain't cutting it. And I'm babbling away about nothing, aren't I? I apologize. I've done no reading. I have the book sitting on my nightstand teasing me, because I really enjoyed the first chapter and I want to read more of it, but I haven't been sitting down with it. And my neighbors are running around like crazy people up there. I have watched, after Thor Ragnarok, I was supposed to watch season 1 of Marvel's. I watched The Defenders. There was another series I was supposed to watch that now I can't even remember the name of. I had never heard of it, and I can't find a source for it online. So, pardon me, I decided to skip that one, and I started watching The Punisher. I'm having a little bit of trouble with The Punisher. It's extremely violent. I know I'd been complaining about how I hadn't remembered how violent Luke Cage was. The Punisher is about 10 times worse. I had trouble watching the first episode. Excuse me. So, I'm not all gung-ho on watching it because I'm finding it really disturbing. And I'm finding that as time goes on, Marvel series are getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't know if that's... I'm not enjoying them as much anymore. There's a lot of gore. There's a lot of senseless violence. There's a lot of really, really graphic violence. And I'm not having fun with it. So I took a little break. I've watched a few episodes of The Punisher, but I've also started watching Marie Kondo, The Magic of Tidying Up. I don't know if that's what it's actually called. I'll confess, I have the book. You guys saw it. And I started watching the TV show, which is on Netflix currently. I'm a little conflicted because on one hand, I see it as a very classist sort of privilege to be able to just throw things away. But on another side, I do see that our, at least North American culture, I don't know about elsewhere in the world, but our North American culture is extremely consumerist. And I can look around the room I'm in right now and see about 50 things that need to go. We do have a tendency to just acquire and acquire and acquire, and then it gets to be too much. It gets overwhelming for some people. Some people are better at just not letting it into their homes, I think. I'm not one of those people. I do tend to just buy stuff, and it lays around, and it's just got to go. So I'm sort of trying to push myself into purging a lot of unnecessary stuff. I need to do this. It's twofold. One, I hate living surrounded by stuff. I feel really overwhelmed by the amount of stuff in my apartment. And part of that is that I'm not the only one acquiring stuff and bringing it into the house. I have a teenager who does that as well. And she seems to be a lot less discriminate in what she brings into the house than I am. Although, you know, I do have, I am a bad example, shall we say. Really need to get rid of some crap. But the other thing is that Rob is going to be moving here at the end of the year. And we are not going to be living in this apartment. We are going to be renting, hopefully, a house in the Ottawa area. And, oh, hello. That would be George. And so we're both going to have to downsize considerably in order to fit all our stuff into one house. Because he currently has a 3-bedroom house. And, yeah, we're both going to have to downsize considerably. I don't know what she is playing with back there, but she better quit it. Yes, you. She's got a piece of, like, a plastic thing, and she's crumpling it. So anything to make noise, this cat. Anyway, so I will stop babbling at you guys now because I only had about 3 things to talk about knitting-wise. I do have a couple of podcasts that I want to mention to you guys. Of course, Knit Girls are still at it, still, you know. I can't keep up. I haven't found a good time to watch podcasts where I can literally just sit and watch and concentrate, and I can't. I just don't have the time. So I've been sort of listening to them on my lunch hours, and when I want to see something, I flip over to the page real quick. So Ruth has a second episode out of Slowly Yarning. And there's been a new Must Love Yarn episode that I saw, looked very interesting. I really enjoyed Selma and Kate's new episodes a couple of weeks ago. I think I mentioned them last week, but they do have some new episodes up. I don't know. What else have I watched? I'm awful. I did watch some stuff, and I didn't pay attention to what it was, and so now I can't tell you about what it was. A couple of things I wanted to mention. The Garments Galore Cal in Little Big Knits and Hawthorne Cottage Craft podcast is going strong. The Pigskin Party from Boston Jen's Down Cellar Studio podcast is coming to an end very shortly. February 4th, I think, so there's only a couple of weeks left. The Knit Girls actually just posted a new episode yesterday. So if you are participating in the Pigskin Party, make sure that you get your stuff updated before February 4th. So I'm just going to scroll through real quick. Oh my god, this is bad. Must Love Yarn put up a new episode 2 days ago. Espace Tricot actually has a new episode up. That's episode 26 for them. So way to go, guys. Lisa and Melissa have of Espace Tricot put up episodes. I'm sorry, 26. Slowly Yarning put up episode 2 a couple of days ago. Fiberific has a new episode up. Knitting Expat has a new episode up. It's her first one of the new year. Let's see who else has stuff. I'm subscribed to far too many channels. I watch a lot of ASMR videos. So there's a lot of those. Andrea the Cat Lady has a new podcast up from a couple of days ago. And Caw Creations, Cheryl has a new episode up as well from this week. So that's what has happened this week. And I just thought that I would, sorry, I'm going to try and get back to my window here, tell you guys about what has been going on YouTube the last couple of weeks. Also, Steeped in Books, who is Sarah Trucaduck Girl from Ravelry, has a couple of new videos up for this week. So I will end it there. I'm sorry there was no tea. I have too much going on today. I'm trying to get laundry done. They're just stomping around like nuts. And I need to leave the house very shortly. So I will say have a great week and be kind to each other. And I hope to see you again next week.